Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're all having a lovely evening. I'm having a crisis of conscience here. I don't think that most of you who donated to this 501c4 for political lobbying did so because you believed in my abilities because of my 40-year track record in successful political lobbying, or because of 30 years of experience as a community organizer. As you all know, I own a repair shop that fixes laptops at component level. You watched me learn everything as I learned it because in my early videos I had no idea what I was doing. And now I'm really good at it. And as I went every step of the way, I just tried to uncover what it is that made it difficult, made it hard, and tried to figure out how we can make this less difficult. And I uncovered a lot of interesting little tidbits in corruption and interesting stuff along the way that I shared with all of you. And I started lobbying in favor of this idea called right to repair. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just carrying my camera around to all these different legislatures that people weren't bothering to show up at or record at, and just show you what different people were saying and try to get something done. I don't think you gave me the money because you believe in my experience, because I'm an expert lobbyist. I think it's because you trusted me to say and do the right thing when I saw something that wasn't right. And even if I wind up doing the wrong thing, to correct it. But most importantly, to share my findings with all of you in a clear and honest fashion. And that's what I've tried to do. I had to really deliberate with myself before I did this I Hate Politics video. In this video, I'm talking about how certain groups that supposedly represent farmers wind up behind closed doors saying things that, in my opinion, sounds more like the words of a John Deere lobbyist than somebody who represents farmers. As I go over in that video, some of the words that were used to describe what farmers do and don't want, what they do and don't intend to do with their own equipment. It was very difficult for me to really cross-reference that with a group that has branches in other states that have voted 176-1 in favor of right to repair. That's what the Nebraska Farm Bureau did about 2.5 years ago. Now, recently, I did a video congratulating Senator Tom Brandt. What Tom Brandt did is he got a bill introduced called the Agricultural Equipment Right to Repair Act. This is the Right to Repair Act, except instead of it being for cell phones and laptops and all that, it's for farm equipment, John Deere tractors and other tractors and so on and so forth. Now, this bill was voted in favor 5-2. So I decided to look into the votes. Now, when you take a look at the votes, you'll see that Steve Lathrop, Tom Brandt, Wendy DeBoer, Terrell McKinney, and Patty Pansing Brooks are the senators that voted in favor of this bill. The senators that voted against it were Julie Slama and Suzanne Geist. Now, what's really interesting here is if you take a look at the senators that are and are not endorsed by the Nebraska Farm Bureau, the very Farm Bureau that had their constituents vote 176-1 in favor of right to repair, you know what you find on this little list? You know what you find on this list? The two senators that voted against right to repair were endorsed by the Nebraska Farm Bureau, here and here. And 4 of the 5 senators that voted for the right to repair bill were not endorsed by the Farm Bureau. This brings up a number of questions. The way I see it, in my opinion, there's 2 possibilities. Behind door number 1, the Nebraska Farm Bureau actually supports right to repair, like their constituents said. They simply made a mistake. They got screwed. They endorsed the wrong politician. Sometimes politicians lie, sometimes they cheat you, sometimes they screw you over, sometimes they're dishonest. And if that's the case, then the Nebraska Farm Bureau endorsed 2 politicians that they need to remove their endorsement from immediately because they voted against right to repair. Or, behind door number 2, maybe those politicians did exactly what the Nebraska Farm Bureau asked them to do. Maybe the Nebraska Farm Bureau doesn't actually want to see right to repair passed at all. And those 2 senators did as they were told. Maybe my I Hate Politics video was not paranoid after all. Maybe when I hear people from farm bureaus in other states talking more like John Deere lobbyists than farmers, maybe they don't want to see this get passed. Maybe there's a reason for that, and maybe that needs to be uncovered by its constituents. If that's the case, the members of the Nebraska Farm Bureau, they've got some hell to raise with their leadership. Because you see, it's one or the other, the way I see it. Either A, you endorse the wrong people, in which case you remove the endorsement, or B, you endorse the right people, in which case you don't support right to repair. It's one or the other, because 4 of the 5 senators that voted in favor of the right to repair bill are not endorsed by the Farm Bureau. 2 out of the 2 senators that voted against the right to repair bill were endorsed by the Farm Bureau. If the Nebraska Farm Bureau supports right to repair, I would suggest that they consider removing the endorsement of these two senators. If they don't remove the endorsement of these two senators effective immediately, I think that at that point, Nebraska voters and Nebraska farmers know exactly where their Farm Bureau stands. Now, I get it. If you're a Nebraska farmer, you are likely skeptical to listen to what some random guy who grew up in New York City has to say about your local politics. I am not asking you to switch over to being Democrat because more Democrat senators voted for this than Republicans. I'm not asking you to change your political ideology, and I'm not even asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to click the links down below. I'm asking you to call these senators, call the members of the Farm Bureau leadership, and ask them why. Just ask the question. If you are for right to repair, why did you endorse a senator that voted against this? If they did vote against this and you do support right to repair, will you remove the endorsement? If you no longer support right to repair, then why? Why would you vote against your Republican colleague that introduced this right to repair bill? If you refuse to remove the endorsement of these senators that voted against right to repair when you support right to repair, can you explain why it is you don't want to remove your endorsements? Because something stinks here. And it's not going to get better. It's not going to go away unless you all do something about it. This will be dragged out until the end of time. They will keep stalling. Next year, we'll try to introduce this bill. Next year, we'll try to come up with this compromise. In 2040, we'll try to do this. We will be out of COVID variants before you get a right to repair bill at this rate. I think these are very important questions. And they're not questions for me to ask. I don't vote in Nebraska. I'm not a farmer in Nebraska. I am not a constituent of either the Farm Bureau or any of these senators. It is not my place nor my business to ask these questions because these individuals and these politicians and these organizations don't represent me. They represent you, or at least they're supposed to. And if they're not representing it, I want to get to the bottom of that along with you. But I need your help to make that happen. If you are a farmer in any of these districts, please help me make that happen. Help me help you. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now.